After weeks of intense fighting, Russian forces began retreating from Kiev and other cities in northern Ukraine in early April.
They'll not be able to touch any of their money.
Western leaders announced more sanctions on Russia amid allegations of war crimes. And the impact of the financial penalties is spreading through Moscow's economy, causing inflation, job losses, and import insecurity. But despite the setbacks and stiff resistance, Russia is persevering in its invasion, and most Russians still support the war in the former Soviet Republic, home to vast quantities of wheat and grain, as well as untapped oil and gas reserves. Those natural riches, paired with deep political, economic and cultural ties, have made the country an important and prized target for Russian President Vladimir Putin, who has vowed to fight a pro-West government in Kiev and bring Ukraine back into Russia's orbit. So why is Ukraine so important for Russia? For years, Putin has attempted to reassert control across the former Soviet sphere, following the demise of the USSR in the early 1990s. But Ukraine, which sits on Russia's western flank, has long been the primary focus. Its vast plains have historically acted as a buffer between the European powers and Russian territory. Its rich agricultural assets have previously benefited the region. When it was part of the USSR, Ukraine produced much of the wheat consumed in the Soviet Union. The country's mineral-rich soils currently yield 10% of global wheat exports, 14% of corn exports, and about half of the world's sunflower oil, according to the US Department of Agriculture. And it has a wealth of untapped energy supplies. Ukraine holds the second largest known gas reserves in Europe, some of which are located off the coast of Crimea, which Russia annexed 8 years ago. In the years since, trends including the growing use of the Ukrainian language instead of Russian has alarmed the Kremlin. The 2014 conflict came after the ouster of a pro-Kremlin leader in Kiev. Moscow saw Ukraine as becoming more closely aligned with Western institutions, such as NATO and the European Union. Russia believes that it has a historical claim over a major part of Ukraine, with one state TV report even spelling it out using a graphic map. It said the land highlighted was given as gifts from former Soviet leaders. Putin has endorsed that view.
Современная Украина целиком и полностью была создана Россией.
Putin has said his objective is to defend Russian speakers in Ukraine, especially those in two self-declared republics of Donetsk and Luhansk, which broke away from Ukrainian control in 2014 and which the Russian president has recently recognized as being independent. Putin has falsely claimed that Ukraine needs to be liberated from Nazis, a claim Kyiv strongly denies. And Putin's popularity appears to be on the rise. His approval rating is at 83%, up from 69% in January, according to the independent pollster Levada. More than 80% of responders said in a poll that they support the war. With the invasion of Ukraine, Moscow is seeking to take back some control in its former sphere of influence.